I have never seen a situation like this. आज की डेट में देखो, Apple wants to come to India, right? You heard Tesla wants to come to India. Everybody wants to come to India. A lot of innovative companies in the world has come out of recession. लोगों को ये समझ आना चाहिए कि सैलरी इज अ वेरी यूनिक कॉन्सेप्ट. मेरे को याद है काफ़ी सारे लोग गूगल को गॉगल बोलते थे इंडिया में 2007 में. इफ़ यू गो टू द सिलिकॉन वैली, ऑल इनोवेशन इज हैपनिंग देयर. एंड इंडिया में सब लोग नौकरी की तरफ भाग रहे हैं. और अगर मैं आज देखूं, आज की डेट में 2023-2024 में एक्चुअली अब इनोवेशन यहाँ हो रही है. यहाँ पे अब सब एक्साइटेड हैं. जैसे आप NSIT से निकल के लेट मी क्रिएट समथिंग. सबसे मुश्किल चीज़ होती है बिहेवियर क्रिएशन. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला पेमेंट्स एक बहुत ही बिहेवियर क्रिएशन था. उसी तरह कोविड हेल्प विद द सेविंग बिहेवियर क्रिएशन.
क्या ऐसी मिस्टेक्स थी दैट यू डिड?
So the first mistake every founder makes, or every entrepreneur, young entrepreneur makes, and even I have done that in the past.
10 years down the line, if everything will be done by AI, what will we do?
All the content, all the insightful content is AI. So I think everybody should embrace. I don't think it's like disastrous from a jobs point of view, but of course people who won't. I really love this concept of SIP. All startups have happened, with personal pain areas. So this is like dating, right?
So, hi Ashish, welcome to the channel. Can you please just introduce yourself? Brief introduction.
Thank you for having me over. Really appreciate it. I am the founder of a fintech app called InMoney. InMoney helps customers to manage their finances all in one place and also invest across stocks and mutual funds and NPS. It's a very powerful product which the team at InMoney has built, solving various pain areas of the customers. Previously, I also founded companies like GoIBibo and PayU. Also during that journey, I had the great opportunity to acquire a beautiful brand called Redbus, which we took to multiple markets. Pretty much I am one of the very few living souls to have seen internet era 1, 2 and now seeing the third era.
So, the whole journey, your journey started with Google being a Google India head. So, वो कैसे हुआ था? Like at that time, I think Google was setting up their infrastructure and everything in India, and they have started hiring. So, how did that happen?
Yeah, look, I mean, at that time, Google was just emerging. मेरे को याद है काफ़ी सारे लोग गूगल को गॉगल बोलते थे इंडिया में. अभी it was just starting off and they wanted to launch India facing operations. I remember doing some 17 interviews. The last 5 interviews happened on site at Mountain View. Amazing experience. I think it was a game changer for me because suddenly I saw that people like us who are getting out of universities and wanting to get into only employment and most linear kind of journey, there is a lot of innovation happening. In fact, अगर मैं देखूँ 2007 में, if you go to the Silicon Valley, all innovation is happening there. And India में सब लोग नौकरी की तरफ भाग रहे हैं. और अगर मैं आज देखूँ, आज की डेट में 2023-2024 में एक्चुअली अब इनोवेशन यहाँ हो रही है. यहाँ पे अब सब एक्साइटेड हैं. जैसे आप NSIT से निकल के let me create something. So I think that's a big change which has happened. Google happened to me because Google से पहले मैंने Times of India, which was at that time a very big publication. Abhi bhi it's a very big publication. I started their internet and e-commerce businesses. One of the few people who tried to create internet businesses जब खाली इंडिया में 5 मिलियन इंटरनेट कनेक्शंस हैं और वो भी बहुत ही स्लो इंटरनेट कनेक्शंस हैं.
Right.
So that's where my journey started. And I think Google was a very excellent platform for me to know that we need to solve problems in the world.
Got it. So, you started with this fintech company called InMoney, right? So, fintech related या finance related ना थोड़ा taboo रहता है इंडिया में. Like getting that awareness, asking people to like start paying online, start using online products. Was that, how difficult was it? Like how much COVID helped you? How did that transition happen for you?
देखो, there has to be evolution.
Right.
मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि आप कुछ फोर्स फिट कर सकते हो. तो अगर मैं वापस जाऊं 2007 और 8 में, अगर हम इंडिया में MMORPG गेम्स लॉन्च करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और अगर इंटरनेट बैंडविड्थ ही नहीं है तो आप जितना अच्छा प्रोडक्ट बना लो उसका कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है, इट विल नॉट वर्क।
राइट
इसी तरह अगर आप फिनटेक एंड फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज में देखोगे, सबसे पहली चीज़ आदमी क्या करता है, आसानी से पेमेंट्स करता है,
राइट
बिल पेमेंट्स करता है, पेयर टू पेयर पेमेंट्स करता है। तो UPI के वजह से everybody has got used to using mobile apps to make payments,
राइट
and I think that has scaled a lot. अगर हम कोशिश करते हैं कि सबसे पहले लोगों को इन्वेस्टमेंट कराना सिखाना है या पर्सनल फाइनेंस मैनेजमेंट सिखाना है और पेमेंट्स अभी तक नहीं हुआ तो बड़ा मुश्किल होता। तो आई थिंक द टाइमिंग ऑफ IND Money has been के people have learned how to make payments, people have learned how to look at their saving bank account balances through the UPI app.
राइट
I think UPI is a big innovation.
राइट
नंबर 1, एक तो UPI स्टैक है जो कि हैज हेल्प्ड कंपनीज लाइक अस जो कि लोगों को बहुत आसानी से इन्वेस्टमेंट करवा सकते हैं। एंड द सेकंड वेरी अमेजिंग स्टैक इज द आधार स्टैक,
राइट
जिससे आप KYC कर सकते हो, which is again a very very good stack. And then all of these stacks are now also getting integrated, जैसे through there's a PAN का stack है which comes from companies like NSDL and so on and so forth. तो ये सारे जो stacks हैं, अगर ये नहीं होते और आप IND Money बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, बड़ा मुश्किल होता है। और दूसरा, अगर लोगों के पास बिहेवियर नहीं होता टू यूज द एप्स टू मेक पेमेंट्स, तब भी बहुत मुश्किल होता।
मतलब it was properly a shift. Then COVID also like accelerated it.
सो कोविड बेसिकली हेल्प के, अगर कोई आदमी 100 रुपये कमा रहा है और 100 रुपये खर्च रहा है, राइट, कोविड में लोग अपने अपने घर चले गए और 100 रुपये की जगह अब वो खर्चने की जगह दैट पर्सन वाज सेविंग सडनली 50 रुपया, एंड ही सेड अभी 50 रुपये का करना क्या है। एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट एप्स हमारी जैसी आई, जैसे हमने सबसे पहले खोला टू इनेबल अ कस्टमर टू इन्वेस्ट इन गूगल, एप्पल, US स्टॉक्स, राइट, तो उससे लोगों को एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली। अब हमने डोमेस्टिक स्टॉक्स भी खोल लिया है। सो आई थिंक कोविड डिड हेल्प इन अ बिहेवियर क्रिएशन ऑफ सेविंग। एक जो सबसे मुश्किल चीज़ होती है बिहेवियर क्रिएशन, जैसे मैंने आपको बोला पेमेंट्स,
Right.
पेमेंट्स एक बहुत ही बिहेवियर क्रिएशन था, उसी तरह कोविड हेल्प विद द सेविंग बिहेवियर क्रिएशन, एंड वो सेविंग एट द एंड ऑफ द डे गॉट इनटू द इन्वेस्टमेंट बिहेवियर।
Like creating a market segment is difficult at any point of time. Like ये वाला पूरा market creation ही था, which multiple apps did in the past 5-6.
एंड मार्केट क्रिएशन और बिहेवियर क्रिएशन भी एक प्लेयर नहीं कर सकता,
हाँ, right.
बहुत महंगा रहता है। काफ़ी मैंने जर्नी में देखा है कि हम कुछ भी नया कर रहे हैं और आप खाली अकेले कर रहे हो, तो दैट्स अ वेरी एक्सपेंसिव डिफिकल्ट थिंग। अगर 8-10 प्लेयर्स कर रहे हैं, सो वी कॉल इट को क्रिएशन
Right.
इज हैपनिंग ऑफ अ मार्केट।
Right, for example, जो US stocks investment वाला है, like I personally use it and I've been using it for past 2-3 years. So in general किसी और बैंक के थ्रू करना है, कहीं से भी करना है, is very like not convenient I would say. And IND के थ्रू करना है, it's very convenient for me. So वो but how secure is that? Like एक doubt सबके दिमाग में रहता है. If you are using a startup, if you are using a product, जो maybe it might work after 5 years or something like that. So how secure is it?
See, from a security point of view, the main aim is that you should always participate in regulated products. So today's date, when you invest in US equities via InMoney, you are using a regulated digital bank, right? It could be any of our partner banks. It's fully regulated, and you are using that bank to save your money and then to remit your money through what is called as the LRS rail. Very, very regulated, very kosher. And then your money is going and sitting in a US wallet of a regulated broker where you have protection up to a certain limit like $500,000, right? Which is where you get the protection from the US securities
Right.
regulator. So that's also regulated. तो प्रॉब्लम ये रहती है कि इफ़ यू स्टार्ट पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन अनरेगुलेटेड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स और वेयर देयर आर प्रोमिसेस कि यार हम 25% रिटर्न दे देंगे, 30% दे देंगे, दैट्स वेयर द प्रॉब्लम इज। सो दीज आर रेगुलेटेड सिस्टम्स व्हिच प्रोटेक्ट यू एज अ इन्वेस्टर।
Got it. Makes sense. एक मेरे दिमाग में क्वेश्चन था, like if you were like starting up right now and you have made multiple companies or built multiple companies throughout like in the past 10-15 years, so क्या ऐसी mistakes थी that you did, and if you start up now though you will not like repeat those mistakes?
See, एक जो मिस्टेक बार बार मैं करता हूँ अभी भी, वो ये है और बहुत मुश्किल है कि आप काफ़ी सारे एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर सकते हो, बट एट वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम फोकस ऑन वन थिंग. सो मेनी टाइम्स क्या होता है कि आपको 25-50 आइडियाज आते हैं
Right.
ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट.
Right.
You want to do one thing at a time. I think many times I would go and try and do 8 things. So वो art, would be there would be a lot of friction, there will be a lot of noise. And then I would go in and say कि यार नहीं, इस एक पे focus करते हैं. But I think focusing on one thing at a time, ये जो concept of multitasking मेरे को नहीं लगता is a valid concept, right? You have to do one thing at a time.
Right.
You can do 10 experiments, but one after the other.
Got it. So if a young startup founder is starting up right now, what are the things he or she should like focus on? कि यार ये problems हैं, क्या किस चीज़ पे focus करना चाहिए? How they should get the right PMF? How should they like start up basically?
सी मोस्टली क्या होता है, एक फाउंडर को एक आइडिया आया है और वो आइडिया के बारे में सोचता है.
Right.
और सोचते ही रहता है और सोचते ही रहता है और फिर वो 1 साल बीत जाता है और कुछ उनमें से प्रोडक्ट को उतार देते हैं मार्केट में, कुछ उनमें से दे आर नॉट एबल टू शिप इट ऑल्सो. तो द फर्स्ट मिस्टेक एवरी फाउंडर मेक्स और एवरी entrepreneur, young entrepreneur makes, and even I have done that in the past, that too much of over analysis, too much of overthinking. I think it's important from an idea to execution 3 महीने में हो जाना चाहिए. बिकॉज अब आज की डेट में आप बोलो मेरे को 1 साल में कुछ शिप करना है, वर्ल्ड इज चेंजिंग,
Right.
तो आप कुछ सीखोगे नहीं, कुछ आप इवॉल्व नहीं करोगे, कुछ आइटरेट करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. सो गेटिंग योर प्रोडक्ट आउट इन द मार्केट विद इन 3 months, एंड दिस इज अ मिनिमम वायबल प्रोडक्ट. ऐसा नहीं कि इट्स गॉट ऑल द फीचर.
Right.
Getting a minimum viable product within 3 months is a very, very critical thing. I think making that a 9-month or a 12-month journey is quite disastrous.
Makes sense.
So I think that's the first thing. The second thing that he or she needs to do is really surround himself or herself with 2 or 3 people who believe in the idea. Even if those people are not the best skill, but if they have high energy, high belief, they can get things done, it's great. Because at this stage of life cycle, you want to get things done. Find a scrappy way and get the product out. The scrappiest way and the most minimum viable product. So I think these are the 2 things. Get it done fast, execute fast, and surround yourselves with 2-3 great people.
Got it. And in the era of AI, everything is easily done. Like if you want to build a design, you can use AI tools. If you can like get the initial code of something, you can get that done. So इससे थोड़ा सा एक sense of fear भी like आ गया है in the younger generation, that if everything is like can be done by AI, what are we doing? Why are we studying? Why are we doing anything? If 10 years down the line, if everything will be done by AI, what will we do? So what's your take on that?
So my take is, देखो, AI is here to stay. AI is here to change the world 100%. But now everybody would like to, and I'll take an example at iNiMoney. Our engineers are using AI to write code faster, to test code faster,
Right.
to be able to create things which would take 4 weeks time. Now it's done in a shorter span of time, and you're able to give more stabler applications to users. You're able to give better products to users. For example, अगर आप हमारी ऐप में stocks का section खोलोगे, so all the content, all the insightful content is AI, Gen AI. But ये सारा काम is being done by the same software engineer who was writing lines of code earlier.
Right.
So it's this person who is evolving. You understand? Similarly, let's say if there is a person who's doing something manually, if that person can evolve to start using it as a tool, then it becomes very valuable.
Right.
But जो लोग इसको embrace नहीं करेंगे,
Use करना नहीं start करेंगे.
इसको push back करेंगे, कुछ सीखेंगे नहीं, then it will be really bad for them.
Right. मतलब when I was working at Microsoft, it was basically, it's a co-pilot. Like it will help you do your things better, And if you start using it properly, then you will be more efficient.
Correct.
That's the right way to like look at it.
So that's the way. I don't think people should say कि यार ये तो नौकरियां बर्बाद कर देगा and all of that. I don't think.
हाँ.
I think everybody should embrace it. Even a customer care executive who thinks, now AI tool is answering should embrace it and should say that, can I use this to better my life, to improve, to actually move from just a ticket query respondent to adding a lot of value to the core product, so that maybe that ticket just doesn't get generated. Why did that ticket get generated in the first place, right? So I think everybody should embrace. I don't think it's like disastrous from a jobs point of view, but of course people who won't, for them it would be
So
hard.
do you use AI in your day-to-day life? Like,
I'm personally not. I'm using it at work
okay,
to make things more efficient. I personally like when I'm writing something to someone, I personally like to do original content.
got
But let's say if we are formulating something, I would go and dump that content and see what is the content that AI system is generating. But I would say more to ensure that the work productivity increases. That is something which not just me, everybody in the company is using.
Right. So you have seen the last two recessions, the dot-com bubble that happened.
I've seen three of them actually. Yeah.
This is the third one, right? So you have seen the previous two.
Yeah.
So what would you like to say about the recession wala thing? Because currently everyone is a little bit scared because companies are not hiring, they're not going to colleges. Recently there was a news that IIT Bombay mein 36% students were not placed. And IIT Bombay is the top engineering college in India. If that's the scenario there, the tier 2, tier 3 engineering colleges, it must be facing a lot more worse scene, right? So what's your take on that?
So I think my first take is that previous recessions were global recession. That's the first take.
Right.
Current recession has kind of insulated India.
Okay.
I have never seen a situation like this. India is shining, growing, all metrics you look at, right? Whereas the whole world is
right,
kind of suffering or fighting and so on and so forth, right? So I think it is in an amazing place, and that is also happening because it's starting from a very small base, very low per capita GDP has been less, penetration of everything has been less, right? So more and more people are moving from different income classes, right? So people from lower income classes are moving to the middle income classes. Middle income is moving to upper middle, right? And the disparity is reducing slowly. Per capita GDP is increasing. The savings to investment ratios are improving. So all these are improving. So India is in a very amazing space. That is why आज की date में देखो, Apple wants to come to India. Right? You heard Tesla wants to come to India. Everybody wants to come to India. Everybody is making a beeline, which is great.
Right.
Because अगर ये लोग जैसे अब Apple is making phones here, if they're making phones, they'll invest in infrastructure. They're investing in manufacturing. They'll create jobs.
Right.
So India in general is in a very good place and a very good situation, and the buoyant stock markets are a good reflection of that also. Now coming to the current recessionary environment in the rest of the world and previous recession. So first thing I want to say is कि जो recession है, that is a very good sifting tool. Recession, number one, creates innovation.
Right.
Right. तो let's say a person जो IIT बॉम्बे का है या NSIT का है, जो निकल रहा था, जो पहले सोच रहा था कि मैं एक मल्टीनेशनल में जॉब कर लेता हूँ, अब वो सोच रहा है कि नहीं यार, मैं ना एक स्टार्टअप खोलता हूँ, एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करता हूँ.
राइट.
या अब वो ये बोल रहा है कि मैं एक और स्टार्टअप ज्वाइन कर लेता हूँ. ठीक है. सो ही इज सेइंग समथिंग वेरी डिफरेंटली, एंड दिस एक्शन ऑफ हिज is being caused by the so-called recession. This action of his is being initiated because of, a challenge.
Right.
And this is what creates innovation. This is what will enable this person to actually evolve and become even better and better. So that's the one thing I want to say. If you see a lot of innovative companies in the world has come out of recession. I'll take my example. GoIbibo came out of a recession.
Right.
तो recession थी. जो सारे जो airlines थी, they were suffering.
Right.
The other competitors were suffering. We were new. And in that recessionary phase, we said, can we deliver and fulfill to consumers very low cost travel? Great opportunity. Good for the airlines, good for the customer.
Win-win situation.
And that was the time that the product was being built during a recession. Because recession के time आप सोचते हो कि यार पैसे नहीं खर्चने, unit economics set होने चाहिए, and so on and so forth. जब पागलपन है, when there is no recession, then everybody is spending a lot of money, your unit economics are going haywire, everybody is spending on marketing, cost of acquisition are like going crazy, right? So I think that's the other thing that I want to say, that a lot of innovative ideas actually come out of recession. And I don't think when we say recession, India is not in recession. मेरे को नहीं लगता. It could be rest of the world. I mean, there are so many startups still hiring. Of course, there's no craziness, like there's not money being thrown at a problem and so on and so forth. There's discipline which has happened, which is good. Now every startup is thinking, I'm like any business, I want to create a good P&L.
Right. We want to be profitable, and earlier it was like a competition because the inflow of engineers were comparatively less, good engineers were less. A good engineer, and that is balanced sort of. So वो जो पहले salaries बीच में एक बारी crazy, they were growing like crazy.
लोगों को ये समझ आना चाहिए कि salary is a very unique concept. तो कोई कहता है मेरे को 100 रुपए की सैलरी है पर एनम. अब वो 100 रुपए पहले महीने तो मिलती भी नहीं है.
Right.
और जब मिलती भी है तो टैक्स कट के मिलती है. तो अगर 120 सैलरी है तो उसको तो 10 रुपए फिर उसके ऊपर टैक्स कटेगा, 20%, 30% वो मिलती है.
Right.
So salary is a misnomer, right? We need to basically look at wealth creation, right?
Right. Next, you're running one of the biggest fintech startup in India. How is your relationship with money? Like, where do you invest yourself? How your portfolio looks like? Do you invest in startups? Do you invest in like big companies? How is that?
No, so firstly, I think InMoney is an emerging investech app. I'm very excited to be building this with the team.
Right.
I'm really lucky to have one of the best fintech teams in India to be working with me. In terms of my personal philosophy, actually, a lot of InMoney app has been built because I had a personal pain area. So I didn't know how to manage my money because I would have 4 investment accounts, 2 NPS accounts, EPFO accounts, saving accounts, etc., and they're all over. And I said, how do I control all of this? If I'm not able to manage and look into what's happening and how much am I saving, how would I ever effectively invest?
Right.
And that's how InMoney's birth happened, right? That with that core problem. So I use InMoney for that use case, and I use it across my family members. It's a very interesting functionality.
Right.
And then the other thing is that I really love this age-old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And it's really about diversification. So I like to diversify. I like to diversify based on risk across equity, debt, fixed income, pension products, and so on and so forth. And then I really love this concept of SIP. I just love it because SIP helps you to average, which means you don't need to time the market.
Right.
And the power of SIP is just amazing because you are systematically saving, let's say, 100 rupees every week. And that's money is going from your savings account to an investment instrument. It could be a stock. In fact, on InMoney, we are one of the unique players which enables you to invest or start a SIP in stocks. So you can do a SIP in stocks. You can do a SIP in mutual funds. So if you're doing a SIP in stocks, it automatically goes, and you don't not only make the return on that 100 rupees, but the return on return also you get. So अगर 100 रुपए पे 10% का annual return है तो आपको 110 रुपए पे value create हो रही है. So that compounding is magical.
Makes sense, right? So how did you like come up with these multiple like startup ideas throughout your journey? We have heard about GoIBibo, how it started. Recession में you like solved that problem. इसमें iAndyMoney में भी like
so all startups have happened with personal pain areas.
Okay.
Matlab I personally feel the pain.
Okay.
So GoIBibo happened because the pain area was that if I had to book a hotel reliably, I could not. People say कि कुछ अलग करो. अलग करने से पहले it's also about giving reliable, fast solid experiences to customers. Right? I mean, Amazon और Flipkart से पहले there were 10 other e-commerce sites, अगर आपको पता होगा, but they used to not reliably deliver a product. COD Flipkart ने नहीं crack किया था. COD was there in 2002 also, right? So it's really about giving reliable products. So मेरे को याद है कि बहुत साल पहले before GoIBibo मैंने एक होटल बुक किया मनाली में. मनाली यहाँ से ड्राइव है 13 घंटे की. और बुक करके मैं चले गया अपने दोस्तों के साथ, और वहाँ पे होटल वाले ने बोला हमें तो कोई बुकिंग ही नहीं मिली है. तो रात के 11 बजे पहुँचे, एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू हंट. आई सेड दिस सिस्टम इज नॉट रिलायबल. इसी तरह आई वुड बुक फ्लाइट्स, राइट, एंड आप बुक कर रहे हो, आपको कैंसिल भी करनी पड़ती थी, तो रिफंड्स आपके आ रहे हैं 2-2 महीने में. बुकिंग करने जा रहे हो, चेकआउट पे एकदम से 2,500 का फेयर दिख रहा है, 4,000 दिख रहा है. हम सो व्हाट आई रियलाइज कि यार ये सिस्टम ना रिलायबल नहीं है. And that is what got us thinking कि let's really build a travel app which is fast. Let's not worry about design. A fast, reliable. That's what a customer wants, a reliable booking. और जल्दी से हो जाए. This is not like a social media product, right? So that's how birth of GoIBibo happened, and then there was a lot of innovation, marketing innovation, creating a lot of systems. So it was not that easy. The birth of PayU happened because at that time we used to use traditional payment systems. और फेलियर रेट्स बहुत थे,
ज़्यादा थे, राइट.
सो फेलियर रेट्स बहुत थे. हमने बोला ये तो खुद ही बनाना पड़ेगा. हमने काफ़ी हंट किया कि ये ठीक हो जाए, बट द फेलियर रेट्स वर वेरी हाई, एंड वी सॉल्व्ड इट. जब GoIBibo के लिए सॉल्व किया, सो देन हमने कहा कि बाकी मर्चेंट्स के लिए भी सॉल्व कर देते हैं. सो दैट्स हाउ दिस हैपेंड. रेड बस एक्विजिशन हैपेंड बिकॉज हमने बस टिकटिंग लॉन्च की, एंड इट गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ ट्रैक्शन. आई गॉट टॉकिंग टू रेड बस के जितने भी इन्वेस्टर्स थे, दे वांटेड टू एग्जिट. So that's how the Red Bus acquisition happened. So there was a problem always, and then
there was a solution.
There was a solution. In Money happened because it was my personal pain area, right? How do I manage money? Wealth manager आके कोई PMS बेच रहा है मुझे, कोई AI बेच रहा है. ऐसे पहले पैसे तो manage करे ना,
right?
Products सोना खरीद रहा हूँ, ये कोई, this is not e-commerce, right? So that's how In Money happened. That listen, one place to manage and invest all your money. US equities, we are using Google, Apple all the day. But there was no opportunity for Indians to access this market easily.
Right.
So that's how, the birth of In Money happened.
Got it. So, काफ़ी सारे young founders, entrepreneurs देख रहे होंगे podcast. So, एक ये doubt होता है कि when you start up, then you need an initial team of 1 people, 2 people, your co-founders or your founding team. How to find that? Because you have done like multiple startups throughout your journey. So, वहाँ पे like how do you find the right fit?
So, this is like dating, right? You need to. You have to find 2-3 people in the beginning.
Right.
अकेला करने तो बहुत मुश्किल है, right? You can, like if you are an influencer, you can perhaps do it alone, right? That's also a startup, right? But if you're building a product, solving a problem, you need a team. So you have to convince people about your idea. If you're not able to convince people, so it's actually a very good test. So let's say I'm in the university, and मेरे को एक आइडिया आया है कि आई विल मेक अ मोबाइल एयर कंडीशनर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, राइट? मोबाइल एयर कंडीशनर विच वर्क्स ऑन सोलर एनर्जी. अब ये आइडिया आया मुझे एज एन एग्जाम्पल. अब ये प्रोडक्ट मेरे को उतारना है, द लोएस्ट कॉस्ट एयर कंडीशनर फॉर द मैसेस, राइट? डिसरप्ट द कूलर एंड अ टेबल फैन मार्केट. ओके, सो अब जैसे ये आइडिया अगर मेरे को आया है, एंड इफ आई नीड अ टीम, तो आई विल टॉक टू 2-3 people, my classmates, my schoolmates जो थे, या मेरे
like first degree connections basically.
फर्स्ट डिग्री कनेक्शन से मैं आई विल टॉक के यार ये आइडिया है.
ओके,
अगर मैं कन्विंस नहीं कर पा रहा इनको, तो कस्टमर को कैसे करूँगा ना? सिंपल है, सिंपल लिटमस टेस्ट है,
राइट? सो वो अगर हो जाता है, then you will find your team as well, and you will have your basic idea tested.
मतलब see, a founder has to be able to, without a product, has to be able to tell his story in a very simple manner,
right?
Very quickly, without complexity, and people should be able to buy into it.
Makes sense.
Now the story is that this could be the story today, pre-product launch, and it could be a very different story 6 months down the line. That's fine,
right?
But at that moment, he should be able to tell his story.
Makes sense. And ये जो cycles आते हैं, for example, 3-4 साल पहले it was all about Web3. Everyone was investing in Web3. Like the investors were like basically bullish about Web3. Now it has shifted to AI. Before that, it was web, Earlier it was something else. It was social media. So this change happens like after every 2-3 years. So how to identify like the right set of problems? Because अगर आप AI वाले time पे Web3 build करोगे तो you will not get funded at that point of time, right? And you will not be able to start up maybe. So how to...
Yeah, so see, what I tell everybody is that don't ever go against the tide. Flow with the tide. Don't ever. And even whether it's a startup idea, if you are seeing that you're hitting your head against the wall or you are swimming against the tide, better to pivot, change. Don't waste time. And get that reality faster, right? I think AI, अगर आप देखोगे 10 साल पहले भी lot of stuff was happening.
Right.
But the core models were not yet built out. It was still very...
I was not there to like train those models. That was the initial problem.
Correct, right? Now if you see all the models, because they've become very rich,
right,
and they're actually solving real-time problems, we as developers are not creating those core models. We're sitting on top, right?
Perfect.
I mean, that's a sad thing that I'm sure that in India, people will be creating models, that R&D investment needs to go up.
Right.
But we are sitting on those models, and then because those models are working well, timing is great. But if you are sitting on the model and it's not working, or if you're doing something Web3 where the cost of mining is so high, if it's inefficient, then the timing is wrong.
But इसमें एक issue मेरे को वो भी लगता है, like when someone builds on top of a product, the product can like kill you in matter of seconds. Like there were multiple AI tech companies which were basically built on ChatGPT or like multiple LLMs. And जब ChatGPT ने अपना खुद का like mini GPTs they launched, then the market was disrupted. Like those companies went out of business because there was no need of those companies, right? So if you build on top of something else, then you are totally dependent on that. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. इसलिए मेरे को I don't think there is value in building a variant, a UX layer on top of it, right?
Yeah.
You need to say what is the problem, right? Let's say, can you, for example, can you give a person a personal finance assistant using GPT?
Right.
But that personal finance assistant will not be in isolation, right? There has to be other tools,
right?
If I say that my AI tool is a personal finance assistant, I ask the personal finance assistant that, XYZ, where did I spend the most money last month? And, it responds that you spent the most money on Zomato.
Right.
That's not valuable. Okay, that's great information.
But it's not valuable.
But it needs to stitch to something more valuable to say that, okay, I have also found a way for you to save 400 rupees in your next order of Zomato. Please say, yes, you want it. Okay.
Got it.
You understand? So now that's become valuable. But if you, on the other hand, just basically are putting a thinner layer, then it's definitely going to get disrupted.
But there is one more thing, like now security comes into the picture. If you have a lot of user data, you have to keep it as secure. The breaches can happen, and finance data is particularly very sensitive, right? So how do you take care of that in money? And like, because it's very personal. If investment data or personal data, finance data goes out, it will be a huge issue.
Yeah. So security and privacy is a very important agenda for us. So security, privacy, and regulation and compliance.
Right.
These are things which are happening at the back, which customers don't see. A lot of obsession on all of these aspects, right? Just at a high level on security, there's a lot of data hashing and encryption which happens at our end, which basically secures it, so that even if there's a vulnerability, everything is secure.
Got it.
So that's what we do on the compliance regulation, because we are a regulated company. There is a lot of technology we build around compliance and regulation. A lot of velocity checks we do, lots of reporting we do. And we build a lot of technology around it. So these are things which we worry. They're not like seen on the front end. They're not those shiny diamonds on the front end, but a lot of focus.
Like they're the pillars of...
Correct. I think financial services being very compliant, high on governance and regulation is extremely important. You cannot ignore it. You can't just do what perhaps even I did in GoIbibo, right? You gamify something suddenly, right? You have to really think through it.
Right. So one last question for you. Like a lot of young people must be like watching this podcast. They might want to start up. Which like 3 or 4 tips that you have that you have learned in your journey by building so many like multiple companies, so you can share those.
Look, I don't have any specific tips, and honestly, जो भी मैंने पहले किया था, we have to keep unlearning because world is changing so fast, right? So I can't say मैंने वहाँ ऐसे किया था उसको copy paste कर लो.
हाँ.
But I can just give general trends, right? कि be honest to yourself. आप एक प्रॉब्लम को देखते हो and you get obsessed about it कि यार ये बहुत ही अच्छी प्रॉब्लम है और मेरे को सॉल्व करना है. If you want to do something, look at problems which truly have executable solution. मतलब you have to be honest. A lot of people say यार ये problem solve करनी है, but you have to look at execution viability also कि यार ये execute हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता, प्रॉब्लम है, आइडिया है, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है अगर एग्जीक्यूट ना करो.
राइट.
सो आई थिंक दैट्स वन थिंग दैट पीपल शुड फोकस ऑन कि अच्छा प्रॉब्लम तो ये है, एग्जीक्यूट कैसे करो. सेकंड थिंग इज कि लॉट ऑफ पीपल गेट ऑब्सेस्ड अबाउट यार कुछ अलग करना है, 20 प्लेयर हैं, राइट. आई डोंट थिंक ये अलग ढूंढने की ज़रूरत है. आपको ये देखना है जो भी इनकम्बेंट्स कर रहे हैं या जो भी प्लेयर्स कर रहे हैं क्या गलतियाँ कर रहे हैं, how do you make it better, how do you innovate, how do you make it more efficient?
Makes sense.
Right? अगर आप Airbnb का एग्जाम्पल देखोगे, Airbnb भी तो at the end of the day आप एक होटल में जाके रह सकते हो या आप एक हाउस पे लेट सकते हो. तो Airbnb भी तो अकोमोडेशन की प्रॉब्लम कर रहा था, बट उसने क्या किया, इसको एफिशिएंट कर दिया और एक 2-sided नेटवर्क इफेक्ट बना दिया.
राइट. एंड एक चीज़ और आपने स्टार्टिंग में जो बोली, लाइक अनलर्निंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग वेरी फास्ट, सो दैट वी शुड ऑल्सो टेक इन माइंड.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Ashish. It was a pleasure for me to like have you on the show, and really enjoyed talking to you.